The World Series Racing, or WSR, became the Grid World Series after Patrick Callahan announced a name alteration for the series at the 10th season anniversary event in Indianapolis. Many of the teams active in the series today have evolved from the original car clubs that started the WSR. Now boasting a 32-car grid of 16 teams, the WSR has become one of the premier and biggest racing series in global motorsport. Now, let's take a look at the teams and drivers that will be filling out the grid this coming season. Ravenwest. The motorsport powerhouse has new ownership in the most unlikely yet not surprising place. With an aggressive and hungry new lineup of young talents Logan Parker and Jackson Lewis, known for being ruthless, no-nonsense racers, the team has taken on a familiar, intense and intimidating presence on track, keeping the Ravenwest ethos alive. The new principal came in the form of longtime rival and former racer James Randall, the man responsible for the death of Ryan's father, Kyle. James never liked losing, and that hasn't seemed to have changed, so expect Ravenwest to be just as much of a challenge as they've always been. Seneca. The current reigning World Series champions have gone from the brink to world glory, and now they aim to hold on to their crown, or make whoever may take it, earn it. The exciting driving pairing this year matches ice-cold experience with youthful fire, in the form of Yume Tanaka and Laura Carvalho, both with renewed determination this year. Yume to prove that setbacks only make you stronger, and Laura to prove her critics wrong. Marcus Principal's the team as ever, the team he has poured his heart and soul into, a team that has given him his dream, a dream he intends to extend as long as he can. Driver 22, Florian Roux, stated he wished to start his own team fresh off his Grid World Series win with Seneca, rather than Seneca stretching their funding fielding two teams to keep him in the lineup. He was approached by a racing icon from his native homeland, and together they awoke a sleeping European juggernaut, Lumenition. The team, now fronted by two of the leading lights of European racing in Florian and Valentin Manzi, is poised to be a dominant force it once was, sporting a new vibrant colour scheme which is consistent across the disciplines this time, but with each category still having its own unique look and design. That French icon who approached Florian and revived the great Lumenition was none other than its most loyal, flamboyant and successful pilot, Fabien Demont, who now heads the revived and rebranded team with the same charisma he once showed behind the wheel, doing this alongside several important racers and friends from the team's illustrious history, including Hans Fischer and Aman Barbier. Voltz. Voltz is one of the new kids on the block, funded by the global energy drink brand Voltz, that was founded in Miami just 7 years ago. This being where the team is now based, using Homestead Speedway as its HQ and test track. The team is fronted by returning WSR legend and Miami native Bruno Silva, replacing the outgoing Manzi. Bruno having grown up there since moving from Sao Paulo with his family when he was a child. Bruno is returning to the grid after a 2-season absence after breaking his leg in the first race of the season 2 years ago, this leading to the promotion of Manzi. He is joined by bright light of the future, American Laurie Dixon. The team principal still remains the man responsible for Voltz's creation and longtime racing fan, Fernando Diaz, who has been there since the beginning and has become a loved presence in the paddock with his infectious positivity and energy. Eurorand. Formed by the Eurorand Racing Club, setting up their base at Silverstone in the UK, the Eurorand team brings the stars of European talent to the world stage. WSR legend Callum Kirkwood fronts the team, who needs no introduction to his racing credentials. Partnered by a revitalised Leo Garnier, fresh off his controversial axing from Ravenwest a few years ago, which was labelled as professional differences. It is highly rumoured that these differences were Ryan McKane fearing history would repeat itself, and Leo would become a challenge to Nathan, just as the great Rick Scott did. The team is ran and principled by European touring car and WSR icon, the car club president Christian Bergman, who hung up his racing gloves just 2 years ago after having raced in the top splits of European racing for almost 30 years. He still races in the occasional series here and there, but his intense professional circuit days are now behind him. Kowloon Dragons. The team formed by the Kowloon Dragons Toge League. The name Kowloon Dragons coming from the two twisting mountain roads that descended Mount Kowloon where the league started. The team has an all-new lineup this year with renowned Toge expert Wen Liu coming in to lead the team, the current star driver of the league he grew up idolizing, along with point-to-point and hill climb expert Ethan Kote. This team is one of the toughest to beat over a short format or Toge style event. The team is now principaled by WSR and Kowloon Dragons legend Zi Huang, who called time on his professional career at the end of last season to much admiration from peers. He now manages the team of the Toge League he was once the star driver for, the league he is now a global ambassador for. Haruna Kyojin. The team formed by the Haruna Kyojin Drift Series, the premier drift series in Asia and Australasia, and one of the founding clubs of the WSR. The team is led by Drift and WSR icon Makoto Nakano, who is partnered by the GT racing phenomenon Hideki Matsuoka, fresh off his third win in 5 years at Le Mans. The team specializes in Japanese-made machinery due to the team's staff experience tuning Japanese cars for its drift series. The team is principaled by GT legend and former A.R.S. team principal Mayasuke Yamaguchi, who left his longtime team to allow its now new team principal and his former teammate to take over after his retirement from driving for the team. Northpoint. Northpoint is the brainchild of the two WSR North American car clubs, New Union and the Trans-America Pacers. The team name comes from the team's base being located in the north of the USA at Road America, but it is also by coincidence the same name of the small town that its team principal grew up in. The team is fronted by two legends of the WSR and American club racing in Harrison Carter and the Mexican Jorge Espinoza. Having grown out of his cocky, brash younger years and leaving Ravenwest, Harrison is now the well-respected advocate for American motorsport and patriot everyone knew he was going to be. With Jorge funding racing projects across his home country of Mexico and being highly invested in the Grid World Series youth and rookie systems to guide the talent of the future. The team principal is beloved American racing legend Dale Vance, the country boy who became a global racing superstar, winning almost everything you can in the motorsport world. Ever the same humble, down-to-earth person he was when he first started racing, it has made him one of the most liked people in motorsport. He is regularly seen training his drivers by being out on the track with them. Hammerhead. The Australian team Hammerhead are relatively new to the world circuit, having dominated the Asian circuit alongside A.R.S. for the last few years, prompting them to last year branch out to the global series and take on the world. The driver lineup this year contains the rookie talent of Davi Azevedo, brought up from the semi-pro leagues to the big stage. Partnering him is one of the feel-good stories of motorsport in Australian Jack Kelly, who has climbed the motorsport world from getting his big break as a promotional events driver all the way to continental success and now the global stage. The team principal is now retired Canadian racer Alex Favreau, who was forced to hang up his gloves due to a developing neurological defect that would blur his vision under the high stress of races, putting an end to a wonderful career across Europe, to which he is not sad about calling time on. In his words, "I did and won so many things that so many dream of, that I can never be sad about." Corse Classiche. What started out as an all-female drift team has now become an all-female racing team. Having been invited to join the Grid Series relatively recently to participate in the Drift Series solely as an invitational team, the team has found its feet and decided to race in ways other than sideways after being given a full membership in the series last year. The team still maintains its all-female lineup with drift icon Ginevra Corti staying in the fold, with the team signing all-rounder Isabella Hall to replace the retiring Daniela Moretti, the team's new principal. Daniela retired from active full-time competition to start a family with long-time racing husband Vito Bianco, planning to start their own racing academy, as they put it jokingly. Despite being the team's principal, she is still listed as the team's reserve driver, should she ever need to show her class once again. DistruptR. DistruptR is a team based in Madrid funded by the Spanish global clothing brand DistruptR, who brought together the expertise of both Eliminacion and Divisero to form this Euro super team. Using Jarama as its base for testing and team operations, the team name has been through a recent slight name alteration at the request of its new principal. The driver lineup this year is led by Spanish ball and heartthrob WSR legend Lorenzo Vela, who actually funded his now teammate's racing career after seeing him at a public arrive and drive go-kart session when he was over there for university. He convinced Axel Berg to try his hand at racing properly, and the rest is history. The aforementioned team principal who requested that name change is WSR legend Miguel Sousa, who believes that success comes from taking the path that others don't follow, like he did in his racing career, choosing a long muscle car when small ones were favoured, tuning methods out of the norm and being proud to dare to do things different. Hence the name change, intended to disrupt the norm, an idea which the clothing brand itself loved. When asked about the name change, he simply replied, "Full-worded team names are too normal." Vulpini. An Italian icon steeped in European history and heritage, Vulpini is one of the longest running teams in global racing. Many consider racing for Vulpini one of the highest honours a driver can receive. The team always aims to build drivers into stars, as Vulpini always has, with a driver pairing of young Malaysian sensation Som Kai, partnered on track and mentored by WSR and Euro racing legend Lucien Galfion, who leads the driver lineup. The team principal is a Vulpini and WSR legend in Enzo Fratelli, with the Italian having driven for the team for almost his entire senior career. If there's anyone who knows the Vulpini way, it's Fratelli. VIP. VIP is funded and ran by the Dubai VIP Racing Club, one of the original founders of the WSR, using the Dubai Autodrome to test its top-level track machinery and house its racing HQ. The team lineup this year consists of two generations of Emirati racing talent in the form of highly experienced and WSR legend Ahmed Bakit leading the team, partnered by his younger brother and rising star Sahid Bakit, who was promoted to the Pro League to race alongside his older brother. The team principal could be none other than Dubai VIP president, their first star driver, and WSR legend Saeed Nazir, who since his retirement from top-level racing 7 years ago, has used his already analytical mechanical mind to become a very efficient and successful team principal. He still races in lower leagues, but he races for fun now, which is why he got into this whole thing in the first place. McKane. Being ousted from your own team creates competition, none more so than what now festers within Nathan. So much so, history has repeated itself and a McKane births a new team, now carrying the surname feared by many. Nathan has taken it upon himself to guide his own team to the greatness he knows he is capable of and feels he deserves, leading the team both on and off the track as its owner principal. But he needed someone to partner him. That's where he learned of a driver ripping through the semi-pro European leagues with the same ruthless mentality Nathan has made his career with, so naturally Evan Kennedy is the perfect pick for Nathan's quest for the top. Red Desert. A long-time fan favourite and American racing icon, Red Desert has toured the world so many times flying the stars and stripes, taking championships, taking names and rubbing paint. If the phrase American Grit was a racing team, you're looking at it. The team lineup consists of two American racing icons in long-time Desertian and American racing legend Scott Jensen, who leads the team with his decades of experience and success with the team. Partnering him is long-time rival in their youth turned close friend Paul McQuarrin, having joined the team when Lumenition had to pull out of the racing world just after the WSR formed. The team principal is the man who Palmer came in to replace, and Scott's mentor, Marcus Brooks, the other half of the dynamic Desert duo, who has had one of the longest motorsport racing careers in history. He was already 30 when Scott was born and retired at the age of 55 with a house full of trophies. From one iconic racing team to another, a team that has sat atop of the racing pyramid ever since their meteoric debut season, which netted them 4 championships in 4 different series. A.R.S. Apex Racing System. The most notorious and revered racing team to come out of the Asian circuit, the team is fronted by A.R.S. and Canadian racing legend Mallory Renard, having been with the team since his junior years and coming through his academy to stardom. The team has rookie blood in its ranks this year also, promoting its junior driver Rui Takahashi into the pro team fold from the semi-pro leagues. After Japanese racing legend and A.R.S. icon Shiro Aikawa announced his retirement at the end of last season, the stars fell into place. His longtime friend and teammate Yamaguchi opted to take the vacant principal role at Haruna Kyojin to allow Shiro to take over the reins of the iconic team they both love, allowing them to both continue their brotherly competition past retirement from top pro level racing and to keep the spirit of A.R.S. burning strong. So that's your Grid World Series lineup this year, and I for one can't wait to see what this new season has in store. With plenty of returning venues, never before raced routes and exciting variables, you'll see me in the commentary booth with you every step of the way, and we'll see you down on the grid in Chicago for the season opener in a few weeks' time. So that was my idea for a new grid game, or a sequel to the Grid Legends game, and how I would set it up based on how the perceived series timeline and things that have happened throughout the series, bringing back classic names, bringing back classic teams, and also just to feel like there's a continuation of the whole series from the original Racedriver grid onwards. Obviously there are new roster changes based on older games, and also new teams coming in based on older games as well. So it kind of feels like the game has a natural progression and also a natural kind of timeline that for fans of the series to feel rewarded for knowing where things have come from and feeling of a natural progression to things in the series. I thought I'd do this video in sort of a style of what a kind of pre-season kind of preview for the series would be if it was a real life thing, with the kind of lead commentator doing a sort of overview for new people to the series on who the teams are, who the drivers are, who the principals are, and just kind of catch people up to speed, or people that are new to the series, to kind of fill them in on what's going on, who's on the grid, etc, etc. How I'd envision this game working if I was to make it is a combination of Grid 1 and Grid 2, that you start off in a typical way that Racedriver Grid 1 did, that you have to work up the licenses, unlock different various types of events, and work your way through the lower tiers of motorsport, racing up against loads and loads of different teams. The team list will be just as comprehensive as Racedriver Grid 1 was. There's loads of different series, loads of different specific teams, and then you build your way up, and eventually you get to unlocking the top tier events, which is the Grid World Series. It go along with the same premise that Racedriver Grid 1's. You create your team, you build your way up, and you get to the top levels of motorsport, and that's when your team enters the Grid World Series and becomes the 17th team on the grid, and you race against this lineup of the Grid World Series teams. So it essentially operates on the same formula and method that Grid 1 worked on, but adding in the WSR, adding in the Grid World Series, and adding in the teams that participate in that as fully fledged operating teams within the motorsport world. It wouldn't operate in the same way that Grid 2 worked, where that the WSR is your only season. No, there is a Grid World series that you can do. Maybe there's the European leg, there's the Americas leg, there's the Asian leg of the WSR, and you can freely choose which ones you participate in those, just like you did with Racedriver Grid 1, along with doing loads of little smaller events and whatever takes your fancy. Not only that, but these Grid World Series teams will also appear in other smaller events, just like Ravenwest did. Every once in a while they would pop up and kind of annoy you for a little bit. All the other teams in the Grid World Series are also open to doing that, and how are likely to appear in the smaller events as well, just to kind of make them feel like a racing team, not just locked into the Grid World Series. They have other goals and other series that they take part in. They have other areas of the world that they kind of focus in on, like Hammerhead and A.R.S. being in the Asians kind of series, and teams like EuroRound and DistruptR popping up in the European series and events. And also the team and driver rankings would make a return, with the teams from the Grid World Series and the drivers from the Grid World Series also being in that list and sort of competing to be the best team or driver in the world. There would be a storyline to follow during the course of the career, but it wouldn't be the same kind of linear storyline that Grid Legends were operated on. It would be kind of a sense of that there would be little cutscenes that would pop up here and there when you did certain things, like, say for example, you did your first European event, or you bumped into DistruptR or EuroRound for the first time. Maybe you unlocked a certain license, maybe you bought a certain amount of cars, maybe you upgraded your garage, and there's little cutscenes here and there to show the progression of the story and the progression through your motorsport world, but it doesn't feel like you're sort of angled into a distinct route and a distinct path that your team goes through to get to the top of the motorsport world. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little kind of change in concept and idea for this sort of video. I'm going to start doing a lot more of this sort of thing, because I do get ideas like this for lots of games that I play, and I think that, you know what, let's get creative with these sort of ideas and just kind of put them out into the world and see what other people think of my kind of mad ramblings and creative ideas that I get when I play my favorite games. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and whatever the next one may be, I guess I'll see you there.